Last night's episode of The View descended into complete chaos when Ricky Gervais declared, "I'm done with this show," and walked off set after Sunny Hostin accused him of hiding behind comedy to spread hate speech. The British comedian didn't just defend his work. He exposed Sunny's own history of discriminatory comments that ABC had desperately tried to suppress. But what started as promotion for Gervais's new stand-up special would reveal disturbing evidence about how The View selectively enforces outrage based on political convenience rather than consistent principles. The ABC studios buzzed with nervous energy from the moment Gervais arrived. The 62-year-old comedian was there to discuss his latest Netflix special exploring censorship in comedy, a project that had already generated significant controversy online. But Sunny Hostin had prepared an aggressive confrontation designed to paint Gervais as a bigot. A production assistant later revealed overhearing Sunny tell her team, "This transphobic British fool thinks he's clever. Let's show America what he really is." The preparation materials included selective clips from Gervais's routine stripped of context and arranged to appear maximally offensive. Therefore, when the broadcast went live at 11:10 that morning, Gervais walked into what was essentially a stage trial rather than an interview. The show began with its standard Hot Topic segment, Sunny making pointed remarks about comedians who've abandoned humor for hatred. Joy Behar nodded along enthusiastically, while Whoopi maintained careful neutrality. Gervais waited backstage, apparently playing games on his phone with complete indifference to the hostile atmosphere building in the studio. His manager would later describe him as weirdly excited, like he knew exactly what was coming and had prepared something special. When Whoopi finally announced, "Please welcome Ricky Gervais to The View," he walked out with an enormous grin, greeting each host with elaborate courtesy that somehow felt satirical. "Ricky, your comedy has been called dangerous, harmful, and bigoted. How do you defend hate speech as humor?" Sunny began immediately, not even pretending to welcome him properly. Gervais's smile widened. "Sunny, lovely to meet you. I've been called many things, but never by someone who compared gay marriage to bestiality." "Oh wait, should I not mention that?" he said cheerfully. The studio went completely silent. Sunny's face drained of color. "That's a complete mischaracterization," she said quickly. "Is it? Should I play the audio? I brought it on my phone." "Amazing what people forget they've said on radio shows," Gervais replied, pulling out his device. Therefore, the ambush had been completely reversed. Joy tried to intervene. "We're here to discuss your problematic comedy, not deflect," she said. "Problematic? I make jokes about everything." Sunny makes actual discriminatory statements, then pretends moral superiority. "Which is worse?" Gervais asked. He looked directly at Sunny. "You call me dangerous. Say it again. Explain how jokes are more dangerous than your actual legal arguments against equal rights," he challenged. Sunny couldn't respond immediately. The power dynamic had shifted entirely. But Gervais was just warming up. "You know what's fascinating? You've built a career on selective outrage. You defend some groups while attacking others. That's not principle. It's performance," he said. "I stand for marginalized communities," Sunny claimed desperately. "Do you? Then explain your comments about Asian students in universities. The ones ABC made you apologize for. Should I read them?" Gervais asked. Whoopi looked shocked. "Sunny, what comments?" she asked. But Gervais answered for her. She said Asian students were taking spots from deserving minorities, as if academic merit was theft. "But sure, she's the defender of justice," he said. The audience began murmuring angrily. Several Asian American audience members looked particularly offended. But Gervais had more revelations. "Or should we discuss your comments about poor white people? The ones where you said they chose their poverty through bad decisions? Very progressive," he continued. "Those comments were taken out of context," Sunny protested weakly. "Context? The context was you on a podcast laughing about trailer parks. But my jokes are the problem," Gervais asked. He stood up, addressing the audience directly. "This woman pretends to fight discrimination while practicing it. She demands apologies while never giving them. She claims moral authority while living in moral bankruptcy," he said. "You're attacking me personally," Sunny said, her voice shaking. "No, I'm quoting you accurately. If your own words sound like attacks, what does that say about you?" Gervais replied. But then he revealed something devastating. "Your former law partner contacted me, told me about the cases you refused. The discrimination lawsuits you wouldn't take because the victims were the wrong minorities. Should we discuss those? He asked. That's attorney-client privilege, Sunny said desperately. Not when you're refusing clients based on race. That's just racism with a law degree, Gervais observed. Sarah Haynes looked genuinely disturbed. Sunny, is this true? She asked quietly. Sunny couldn't answer directly. Her silence was damning. But Gervais delivered another blow. You attack my comedy for being offensive while you've made actually offensive statements your entire career. The difference is I'm joking. You're serious, he said. He pulled out a folder. I have 17 examples of you making discriminatory statements, then claiming they were misunderstood. 17. Should I read them all? He asked. This is an ambush, Sunny protested. No, you ambushed me with edited clips. I'm responding with your actual record. There's a significant difference, Gervais replied. He walked toward the exit, then stopped. I'm done with this show. But before I leave, let me explain something about comedy versus actual discrimination, he said. Comedy mocks everyone equally. That's equality. You mock only approved targets while protecting others. That's hierarchy. You're not progressive. You're selectively prejudiced, he continued. I fight for justice, Sunny claimed desperately. You fight for attention. There's a difference between activism and opportunism. You're an opportunist who's monetized outrage, Gervais replied. He looked at the camera. To everyone watching, remember this. Those who police humor usually have the most to hide. Those who demand censorship are often the most offensive. And those who claim moral superiority are usually morally bankrupt, he said. This will destroy your American career, Sunny threatened. Gervais laughed genuinely. My career? Netflix just offered me $50 million for 3 more specials. Your threats are as empty as your principles, he said, but then he delivered the philosophical kill shot. You know the real difference between us? I admit I'm offensive. You pretend you're not. I own my words. You deny yours. That's not integrity. That's cowardice, he said. You don't know what I've been through, Sunny said, playing for sympathy. And you don't know what my joke subjects have been through. But you assume the right to be offended on their behalf. That's not empathy. It's narcissism, Gervais replied. The destruction was complete. Sunny sat frozen while Gervais walked off to mixed audience reactions. Some applauded, others sat stunned. The show cut to commercial and chaos. We're experiencing technical difficulties, Whoopi said when they returned, clearly shaken. Within minutes, #Gervais exposes hypocrisy was trending globally. The clips of him revealing Sunny's discriminatory statements went viral instantly. Every accusation was being verified. Old recordings surfaced proving everything. Former colleagues of Sunny's began confirming the refused cases. Asian American organizations condemned her university comments. Poor white communities expressed outrage at her poverty statements. Sunny attempted damage control the next day. Ricky Gervais took my words out of context to deflect from his problematic comedy, she claimed. But the internet had receipts. Full audio and video emerged of every discriminatory statement Gervais had referenced. The context made them worse, not better. Gervais released a brilliant statement. I make offensive jokes. Sunny makes offensive statements. I admit mine are intended to offend. She pretends hers aren't. That's the difference between comedy and cowardice. The statement sparked massive debate about selective outrage and comedy policing. The consensus emerged that those attacking comedy often had worse records than comedians. ABC placed Sunny on immediate leave pending investigation. Multiple discrimination complaints were filed based on the revealed statements. Her legal career faced scrutiny. Everything was unraveling. Meanwhile, Gervais's special broke viewing records. His destruction of Sunny became legendary in comedy circles. It was taught as a masterclass in exposing hypocrisy. The incident became known as the Gervais Revelation, showing that moral police often have the most to hide. Universities studied it as an example of selective outrage backfiring. But the deeper impact was on discourse about offensive comedy versus offensive reality. Gervais had shown that jokes were less dangerous than genuine discrimination disguised as progressivism. Sunny never fully returned to The View. She took extended leave that became permanent. Her reputation as a social justice advocate was destroyed by her own documented prejudices. Years later, Gervais would say, Sunny Hostin tried to cancel me for jokes while hiding actual discrimination. That's like an arsonist becoming a fire marshal. The irony was delicious. The empty chair Sunny left represented the fall of performative progressivism. Her absence marked the end of consequence-free hypocrisy on daytime television. Gervais had accomplished something remarkable. He'd shown that comedy wasn't the enemy of progress, but that selective enforcement of outrage was. He'd proven that those demanding censorship often needed it most themselves. And Sunny Hostin, who'd built a career on calling others problematic, was revealed as the most problematic person in the room. The prosecutor had become the defendant, and the evidence was her own words. In the end, "I'm done with this show" became a rallying cry for comedians facing hypocritical criticism. It marked the moment when comedy fought back against selective outrage and won. The audience that day witnessed something unprecedented, a comedian destroying a moral authority figure not with jokes, but with facts. Gervais had shown that the best defense against accusation of offensive comedy was exposing the offensive reality of the accuser.